When you need to get across a river, you simply lay one tree trunk across it. Congratulations, you've just created a log bridge. The problem is, finding a single piece of timber that's long enough is quite challenging. So here's a clever solution. You shave off half the top surface of two separate logs. You shape one end into a projecting peg, while the other end gets carved out to create a matching socket. This allows the two logs to interlock snugly. Once joined this way, they can't be pulled apart vertically, though they could still slide apart horizontally. You then drill a vertical hole at the junction and hammer in a matching wooden pin. Now the two logs are locked together in both directions. This interlocking technique is called the paged mortise and tenon joint. Even with longer logs joined together, a log bridge has one serious problem. Walking across it, there's a real risk of slipping and falling into the water below. The fix is straightforward. Arrange several logs in parallel and secure them with rope lashings. This makes the crossing much more stable and secure. The gaps between logs create an uneven surface though, which could easily cause an ankle injury. The solution is to cover everything with flat wooden planks. You've now built a simple plank bridge. Heavy traffic causes the bridge to sag and fail, so you add support piers beneath it. Wooden supports won't hold up though, they get swept away by the river flow. You switch to stone piers instead, shaping both ends into smooth curves to minimize water resistance. These piers solve another problem too. You no longer require those massive, lengthy logs. Shorter timber works fine when placed on top of the piers, joined securely with mortise and tenon connections. This method creates a much more rigid structure than rope bindings. The bridge deck is now finished. For added safety, install railings on each side of the walkway, and coat all exposed wood with tung oil for waterproofing and preservation. You've now built an improved stone pier wooden plank bridge. Despite the protective coating though, wooden components still degrade rapidly from constant exposure to weather. This doesn't slow you down. You construct a covered roof over the bridge, shielding it from wind and rain and significantly extending its lifespan. In this way, you invent a basic covered bridge. However, this design only works well on rivers where boats don't pass. If you tried building this on busy waterways, too many support piers would obstruct navigation. So you consolidate by replacing many small piers with fewer, larger ones. The gaps between the pier stones get filled with sticky rice mortar made from glutinous rice juice, tung oil, and lime, bonding everything into a solid whole. Both ends of the piers are shaped into pointed cutwaters to reduce water impact. Above the piers, you lay cantilevered wooden brackets supported by layers of bamboo, with the timber still firmly connected by mortise and tenon joints. This forms a unique corbel bracket structure, which effectively reduces the span between piers. This makes it easier to lay the upper bridge deck, raises the deck height for easier boat passage, and enhances overall load-bearing capacity, beyond just sheltering from wind and rain. You can also build a pavilion at each corresponding bracket section. These pavilions add downward weight, making the entire bridge as stable as a mountain, and resistant to tipping. During leisure time, pedestrians can enjoy the scenery and drink tea in the pavilions. Thus, congratulations! You have invented the wind and rain bridge, a brilliant achievement in bridge construction by the Dong people and other southern ethnic minorities, and one that is hailed as one of the world's 10 most incredible bridges.